Okay, we're going to our next segment. He needs no introduction. This is David Kim, Statewide Project Delivery Manager.
All right. So we've heard a lot over the last couple of days, really building the foundation and body of knowledge for project teams and who's on a project team and what the rules are for the disciplines that participate on the project team, some of the things to consider. And we've also heard from some of our key stakeholders, maintenance and construction downstream, and those that are in front of us. We ran the racetrack from the initial planning and OTC through scoping. The project development piece is what we're going to talk about today and tomorrow, starting with scoping and running through to bid and award. We talked about construction and learned a lot from Vidal about what makes up a construction office and things they'd like to see and how they can support you as project managers, and then the handoff to maintenance. As Bonnie said, we're transitioning as an agency from a roughly 30-40% in-house delivered model to ultimately 70% in-house outsourced delivery by 2024, 2025, when we get that full 10 cents of gas tax. And that is going to change the way we do business. QA/QC is a big thing. We are encountering issues with our projects as it relates to air zone emissions. And are we doing QA? Are we doing QC? What's the difference? And so there's a lot to work through and navigate through. And so now's the time to really establish that standard of practice. So over a year ago, we launched PDII, the Project Development Improvement Initiative, or Project Delivery Improvement Initiative. And that's really to establish a standard of practice for how we develop and design projects. We think about construction, it's a discipline, they have a standard of practice, Joe Squire, they have a construction manual, they have certifications. You think about engineering, same thing, PE licensure. And I think about the world of project management, transportation project management. And there are certifications, the OMPCP, as well as a PMP nationally. But that provides just the knowledge and skills. Application of that into transportation is a whole nother world. And that's what we're trying to do at ODOT today, is really raise the bar for what transportation project management looks like for project development and design. And so as we launched PDII and looked at establishing a standard of practice, we wanted to strengthen project delivery by introducing new phase gates and some project controls, leveraging industry standards, so charters, baselining of projects, formal change management processes, milestone deliverables, and improvements in documentation and document management through ProjectWise and in Construction Doc Express. All that is impacting the racetrack from initial scoping to bid and award. Over the last year, we also developed a work plan, a project delivery work plan that was endorsed by the Transportation Commission here in July. We launched 4 task forces: cost estimating, scheduling, risk management, value engineering, and data management and reporting. How many of you have been involved in one of the task force efforts? If you can raise your hand. Thank you. The task forces have resulted in 24 recommendations. You got a little bit of insight from the value engineering risk management with Peter Kennedy and Zach Davis here the other day. Based on the 24 recommendations, we're now going to move forward to prioritize what we're going to implement. We're not going to implement all 24 things at once. But hearing from the regions, hearing from the region managers, and then in mid-November, we're going before the Continuous Improvement Advisory Committee to see what they think our priorities are. But I know some key priorities is really about project management reports, information we can get out to all of you to help you be much more proactive with your projects. I know that cost estimating and getting a standardized template across the state is going to be really important. And then schedules, ensuring that we're all aligned and consistent in the definition of the various activity codes and the milestone deliverables we have for our schedules. Moving forward, we're also going to launch 2 more task force efforts. One is on scoping. We struggle with scoping, so there's a survey that's about to go out to assess the scope of the scoping effort. Really see what we're going to, how we can improve scoping across the agency. We know there's challenges with budgets. We know there's challenges with just the continuity. We heard the other day about just how do we find that information when projects are scoped 2, 3, 4 years ago, and ensuring some consistency there. And we're going to also launch a task force effort on quality management. So you think about construction, they have a very robust quality management program, materials testing. But in project management and design, it's all over the board. ODOT internal audits recently completed a QA/QC audit of the tech centers. And what they found is that we do QA/QC. However, we do it all differently. And so I know under Steve Cooley's leadership as chief engineer, each of the technical disciplines are going through and establishing a standard of quality management for each discipline. And the hope is that we'll start establishing a standard of practice for quality within project management. And so if you're interested in participating in any of these task forces, I would encourage you to reach out to Lisa Nell, and we'll be sure that we can get you engaged and involved, because the region voice is really critical to the success of this, because at the end of the day, it's not headquarters just creating a bunch of programs and tools and policies. We're trying to add value. I ask the question with my team all the time is, are we adding value to the work that the TPMs do? That's absolutely critical. If we're not, then maybe our priorities are wrong. And so we know that the world of transportation project management is evolving, and it's going to continue to change. We're in a world of change. Bonnie had shared with me the new norm for ODOT is change. And so how can we add some stability in this world of change? So with that, we're going to launch with scoping, and we have Kelly Martin and Bill Nash coming up to do scoping, but we're going to take a break, right? Oh, any questions? Well, just real quick, any questions? Yes?
The Dream Report. It's wonderful.
So
Thank you.
Okay, the Dream Report is something that was conceived out of Region 1, and it's using the data warehouse. And Region 2 has what they call the Sunny Report. And so what we're finding is we have what's called a data warehouse. And it's a very powerful data repository system. And we have very mature systems when it comes to financial reports. You can go into the web and pull EA, subjobs, who's been charging to your projects, how much budget you have, what's been expended. We also have very mature systems for HR, SED dates, just anything you need to know about an employee. Literally, you can run reports. In the world of project development, we don't have a lot of reports. There's all these one-off canned reports. What I'm doing right now is working with the source system owner, so Jeff Flowers, and then we have Joe Bonowitz with Teams, and we have Kayla Van Hoos with PCMS OPO. We have civil rights, and we have construction. We have all these different data sources, and RMS with Jim Gerard. All these different data systems out there, and what we're trying to do is capture that data into the data warehouse and then come up with standardized project management reports. Some will provide information about schedules and tie it to EA, so you can have a schedule that says, I'm supposed to start the project next month, and then we can cross-check that with when the EA has been opened or hasn't been opened. So if your schedule says, I was supposed to start that project 3 months ago, my EA is not open, you're going to get an email or a flag that says it's red. And you may have a good reason why it's not open, but we're going to have smart fields that will help inform each of the project managers so you can be much more proactive in the work you do, or that your budget is approaching 100%, or your contract, the consulting contract you have, is approaching its expiration date and you got 90 days, or that your B code, you're coming up with B code, it'll flag it so that you can be proactive rather than reactive and then have to scramble to the STIP coordinators. I need this STIP amendment done so I can get out of this B code, and so the vision is really to provide tools and resources. One next step that I have as part of that task force is to reach out to all of you to say, what types of reports would you like to see in terms of your projects?
Okay, thank you very much, David.